Let's go one step further. We want to talk about getting the number of lessons completed for a particular user. Let's head straight into it. We'll create a test to guide us, and this would be test can get number of completed lessons for a user. Okay, so how do we want this to look? Let's just create a user, create a series with some lessons, and then we'll create maybe 2 series with 2 different lessons each, and then complete one of the lessons from each of the series. Then we count that the number of completed lessons should be, I think, 2 or 4 depending on the situation. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. So not to type out a lot of stuff, we need Redis to be flushed, we need a user, we need 2 series like we agreed. So I'm just going to copy all of this, paste it in. So we have a user, we have one new series, and this series has 2 lessons. We have another new series, and this one has 2 lessons. Okay, so we don't need this last one right here. So our action step is going to be calling complete lesson on lesson, and also calling complete lesson on lesson 3. Therefore, the number of completed lessons for this user is 2. And why don't we make this a little bit spicier by completing another lesson? So we'll have a lesson 5, which is going to be long to series 2, and we're going to complete it. So complete lesson 5. Okay, so we're going to call this assert equals, and we know that the expected is 3, and we know that we want to compare against user get number of completed lessons. Okay, or we can call this get total number. Okay, so get total number of completed lessons is going to give us the total number of completed lessons in our database for this particular user. So I guess that's actually the only assertion we might want to run. Therefore, let's run this method. Yeah, we have an error saying get total number of completed lessons is not found on this class. So we're gonna copy that, head over to our learning.php and create that, run the test again, and we have failed as standard no match is expected 3. Okay, so how do we get the total number of completed lessons? We already know how to get all the series. So what we could do is we could get all the series for this particular user, just like we did using the wildcard, and then for each of these keys we can add the number of elements in the value for this key, and then we'll get the number of completed lessons. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just gonna say results equals 0, and I'll create a for each loop. So for each keys as key, and for each I'm gonna say result equals result plus, and now we need to get the number of elements that are returned from this key. What I mean is, if we had user 1 series 1 for example, and we also had user 1 series 2, then in this for each loop, when we have this one, we are going to make a query to our Redis store and then get the value of this key. So for example, we'll query to our database, and we're going to have maybe 1, 2, 3, which are the lessons that have been completed in this lesson, in this series, and then we're going to count the number of elements in that array. Okay, so we'll say Redis as members, and we'll pass in, and this is an array, so we'll call our count method, and it's going to give us the number of elements in that array. So for example, if there were 3 completed lessons, it will be 3, and then it's going to go to the next step, and if maybe there are 2 lessons completed, then it's going to count and give us 2 elements, and then it's going to continue adding to this result integer. Okay, and then at the end of that operation we can just return the result. Okay, so I think that should do it. Let's run our test and see what we get. Okay, so it's great, it's passing. So to get the total number of completed lessons, we get all the keys for that user, and then we count the number of lessons that are in that array when we query the database or the set, and then we add to the result, and that's it. So in the next lesson, we should be able to use that data to display the number of completed lessons for a user, and also the series being watched for a particular user.